A branch of yoga called purity. Yoga is one of the most comprehensive systems of spiritual practice that has been handed down to us over the centuries. Yoga means union, or to join. The methods of yoga facilitate the union, or joining, of our inner and outer nature, the joining of the divine and worldly aspects of us. This is why we often refer to the human nervous system as the doorway between this world and the divine. All we have to do is open the door, and we can live a divine life here on earth. There is no need to go away to the mountaintop, no need to quit our job, give away our possessions, or leave our family. As we apply the methods of yoga for a few minutes each day, we can go on just as before, only being much happier and effective in our daily life. This is the real benefit of yoga. The traditional system of yoga is described in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and consists of 8 limbs. Yama, meaning restraints. Niyama, meaning observances. Asana, meaning postures. Pranayama, meaning breathing techniques. Pratyahara, meaning introversion of the senses. Dharana, meaning attention on an object. Dhyana, meaning meditation, dissolving the object. Samadhi, meaning absorption in pure consciousness. The combined use of the last 3 limbs of yoga with a particular technique called samyama yields what we call stillness in action in daily living. The first 2 limbs of yoga, yama, restraints, and niyama, observances, constitute what we call the codes of conduct. It is similar to what we find in all of the spiritual traditions of the world. Don't do this, etc. The restraints and observances include yama, restraints, ahimsa, which is nonviolence, satya, which is truthfulness, asteya, which is non-stealing, brahmacharya, which is preservation and cultivation of sexual energy, and aparigraha, which is non-covetousness. Niyama, observances. Saucha, which is purity. Samtosa, which is contentment. Tapas, which is heat, focus, austerity. Svadhyaya, which is study of spiritual writings and self. And Isvara Pranidhana, which is surrender to the divine. Note that Saucha, purity, is the first observance. This is where we find the principles of diet and Shatkarmas, bodily cleansing techniques. Saucha is the branch of yoga that deals with the aspects of conduct that receive a lot of attention in our modern world. Many of us live in a culture that is obsessed with diet and the physical body. In yoga, Saucha is important, yet it is but one branch in the broad spectrum of our practices. While many traditional approaches to teaching yoga regard yama, the restraints, and niyama, the observances, as prerequisites for beginning practices further down the list of the 8 limbs, some other teachings, including AYP, do not take this view. Yama and niyama can also be regarded as effects in an integrated approach to engaging in practices, beginning with deep meditation, pranayama, postures, and other methods, irrespective of our adherence or not to the conduct guidelines of yama and niyama. When an integrated approach to practices is taken, yama and niyama are found to be rising naturally as effects. This occurs through a quality within everyone that we call the connectedness of yoga. In other words, one practice used as cause will beget other practices as effect. The deeper the practice we use as cause, the more profoundly will additional limbs of yoga be stimulated. And so it goes. If we begin with deep meditation and spinal breathing pranayama as core practices, then we will find aspects of practice contained within yama and niyama rising naturally as effects. These effects will add further causes to our practice routine, much more so than if we had taken on the methods of yama and niyama alone at the beginning. This has great significance when considering diet and inner cleansing methods. If we utilize the yogic principles of diet and cleansing methods as a result of rising inner silence and ecstatic conductivity, cultivated within us via deep meditation and spinal breathing pranayama, we stand to gain much more. On the other hand, if we force the issue of conduct by blindly adhering to external rules, we can create more obstacles to our spiritual progress than we will remove, in the form of forced behaviors and increasing self-judgment. If our conduct in matters of diet and inner cleansing methods is coming naturally from within, rather than enforced from outside, then we stand to gain much more from the measures presented in this book. A wise approach to engaging in the practices here is to become grounded in the core practices of deep meditation and spinal breathing pranayama first. Then the principles of saucha, purity and cleanliness, will be rising from within us naturally. In the AYP approach to practices, we devote selective attention to yama and niyama as necessary to support a quick start in deep meditation, spinal breathing pranayama, and other practices. Then the yamas and niyamas will be greatly boosted by these powerful practices and will blossom naturally. Does this mean we do not concern ourselves with diet at all in our life? Of course not. What it means is that we cannot find health or happiness through forced conduct. The best approach is to avoid extremes and take all things in moderation, favoring the measures we know will bring us greater health and happiness. Over time, our path will become more clear, and we can let our conduct in these matters shift gradually according to our intuition, which will be steadily rising with our inner silence and ecstatic conductivity as we continue with our yoga practices. Along the way, our inner perception will become very refined, and we will learn to listen to our body and follow its lead in many things, including diet and inner cleansing. At some point, we may also find ourselves naturally considering the controversial practice of Amaroli, urine therapy, a powerful rejuvenation technique which relates to both diet and inner cleansing.